Hi, welcome to the summer series. We're having a real heat wave here. So today we're going to look at how we can move and be finding areas in our body that are cool and areas that are hot and being okay with that as best we can. The props you'll need are anything that you normally like to use, a block or a chair, a windowsill, something to sit on, a pillow under your head, and we'll start on our back with either our legs out straight or knees bent and feet on the floor. Bringing the awareness into the body breathing and you lying here on the floor. As best you can, being aware of the contact, of the whole plane of contact in your back body, from your head, the back, the buttocks, the legs, the feet, the arms, the hands. And noticing if where you're feeling a sense of coolness, where you're feeling a sense of heat. And as you scan the body, from the top of the head down to the feet, noticing those areas of warm and cold, hot and cold, of heaviness and lightness. And then scanning again from the feet back up to the head. And if this is really hot on a day where you're practicing, then noticing those areas in the body that do feel quite warm and the areas in the body that feel cool. And not trying to change that, but simply being aware that there can be hot and cold in the same body at the same time. And honoring what your body needs. So not moving so quickly or strongly that you're going to find you're overheating. But today, perhaps, moving in a fluid, flowing, wave-like motion, smooth and flowing with the breath. And even when we are in that staying pose, then more like a floating, calm, rather than a really strong, effortful. So effortless movement as much as possible, even in efforting poses. So let's bring the awareness now into the heart center. And breathing in, noticing the expansion of the chest, the ribs, even the back into the mat. And on the exhale, the softening. And as you are aware of this expansion, you may notice the breath coming into the heart and into the chest and expanding into the whole body, down to the belly, out to the sides. And on the exhale, coming back home to the heart center. So then this way that the breath is moving in a wave-like motion. As we breathe in and expand. And as we breathe out, coming back to the home, the heart center. And at any time that any posture isn't right for you, if this awarenessing of the breath feels comfortable, then you can always bring your mind's eye back here to that expansion and opening of the heart on the inhale, and then coming back to the heart center on the exhale. We'll be moving with the breath. So on your next exhale, let's bring both knees in for a hug, and I'll meet you on the mat. Couple more breaths here, noticing the breath as the body gently moves, expanding on the inhale and softening back down on the exhale. Not trying to move the body, but letting the breath and noticing the movement of the breath in the body. Then let's add the movement, inhaling the knees away from the chest, the elbows straighten. Exhaling the knees back in towards the chest, the thigh towards the bellies, the elbows bend. And following the breath, perhaps bring that image of coming back to the heart center on the exhale. Expanding so your wave is a little bit bigger as the knees move away. Exhaling back home to the heart. The next time the knees are at the chest, then pausing here. And we'll add the inhaling the legs to the sky and the arms overhead behind you. So inhaling up and perhaps back, listening to what's okay on your shoulders. Exhaling back in for a hug. Following your breath, expanding your wave, coming home to your heart center. And let's stay in our up pose, whether your hands are to the sky or back behind you on the floor, or resting somewhere in between. Reaching fingers away from center, reaching heels away from center, perhaps spreading the toes and drawing them back towards the shins. Inviting your knees to be as straight as is comfortable for you. And on an exhale, exhaling back in for a hug. Taking the left foot to the floor and the right shin onto the left thigh into figure 4, gently opening the hip away. Taking the toes back towards the shins, and if you choose, the supporting leg comes up off the floor. You can still keep pressure on that right thigh or hold on to the left thigh, gently pressing with the right elbow onto the right thigh, keeping the knees as parallel as possible. On an exhale, as you're exhaling belly into the spine for strength and stability, both feet come back down to the floor, and we'll change sides. Left shin on thigh, gently pressing left femur away, bringing the left toes back, breathing here, noticing sensation. Staying there, or if you like, taking the right foot off the floor, wrapping the arms around the thigh, gently pressing the left elbow into the left shin. And on an exhale, releasing and letting everything come back down to the floor. the heels so that they're sit bone width apart, parallel with each other. Hands on the floor, palms face down. Exhaling for strength and stability in the abdomen back towards the spine. Inhaling to lift into the bridge. And exhaling back down. So checking and noticing how the bridge feels for you today, knowing that pelvic tilts are a lovely option if the bridge is too much, or adding in, if you like, the arms going up to the sky or back behind you as you inhale up into bridge and exhale down. Following your breath, that wave-like breath, just a little bigger as we expand on the inhale, fingers away from center, opening the heart center. Exhale, coming back home to the heart, to the center of our being, to our sense of calm, peaceful tranquility. One more time, going up and staying up, if up is okay for you. And on the next exhale, coming back down. Keeping the knees of the feet where they are, the arms coming out to T, we'll come into our knee down twist, starting with the windshield wipering. So on the exhale, the right knees, or both knees go to the right, the head can look gently left. And on the inhale, coming back to center. Exhaling the knees and the head in the opposite directions. Taking the whole breath to move into and out of the posture. When you come over to the right this time, then allowing the knees to stay over to wherever is comfortable for you. Knowing that you can hinge or unhinge to make this posture more comfortable. So finding where is it just right for my being today. Both feet on the floor, knees or feet together, legs wider apart. Take another breath or two to find where is it just right for me. And then pausing and breathing and noticing the expansion out to the whole edges of your being. Where do I expand with this inhale? And then softening, bring the awareness back into the heart center on the exhale. On your inhale, coming back to center. Exhaling, knees over in the opposite direction. Head looks away. Palm facing up in the direction that your head is looking. And then once again, taking a breath or two to find where is it just right on this side. Your body may want to come into a totally different form of twist. Paying attention to what's okay or needed or feels just right for you. When you discover that, then pausing and breathing and awarenessing the expansion and the returning home. And on your inhale, inhaling back, head and knees to center. Arms beside the body. And pausing. Noticing all the sensations in the body. Noticing the breath expand from the heart center out. And on the exhale, coming back to the heart center. And let's exhale, coming over, rolling over and coming onto all fours. Pausing here to find our strength and stability. Exhaling, engaging abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor. Inhaling, letting the tailbone tilt up as the chest opens forward. Exhaling, pushing the floor away to look down at your hands or back at your knees. And 2 more times in each direction. We'll add some more movement here. So on your next exhale, as you're pushing the floor away and looking back toward down, then also pushing back. Perhaps letting the elbows bend, the body soften in the direction of the mat. Letting the suction cup of the hands pull you forward, opening the heart center back up. And playing again in this wave-like motion. Where does it feel right for you? The next time you're closest to the floor, wherever that is, on the exhale, pausing there or here for a breath or 2. Softening into the release. Where can I let go? And then bringing the hands back towards the knees and coming up into tall kneeling. We'll step ourselves up into standing and do a little more joint warm-up from our standing position. So let's start with our middle of our hip bones to the middle of our knees to the middle of that second toe in. So we have a nice straight alignment here. And we'll start with warming up an ankle and the toes. And can we go all around that whole direction? Right into the hip and the knee and the opposite direction. And then we'll change sides, warming up the other side. The toes, the ankle, up into the knee and the hip. Coming up onto the top of the toes. And then the opposite direction. And then bringing the feet together with the hands on the knees. And once again, warming up the knees and the hips a little bit more, but also the ankles and the toes. You can notice the changing pressure on the feet. You might start to notice movement in your spine all the way up to the top of your neck. And the other way. What about what's happening in your wrist and your elbows? Not trying to make anything happening, just noticing what is here now. And pausing, inhaling back to standing. Keeping the feet either right together or a little bit apart, whatever is more comfortable for you. Coming into our half moon. So arms can stay at your side. You can inhale one arm up to the sky or both arms, and we'll exhale over to the right. Moving with each half breath, inhaling back up and exhaling over to the other way. Following your breath. So that the beginning of the inhale starts the movement up, and the beginning of the exhale starts the movement down. One more to each side. Keeping the feet where they are, we're going to come into our chair pose. So give your knees a little bit of a softening. And on the inhales, the arms come up in front. Exhale the bottom back, sitting down into your chair. Inhale, coming back up to standing. Hands can stay at your side or go back behind you a little. Exhaling, bottom goes back, knees bend into your chair. Staying in chair if you choose for a few breaths, and whatever chair is right for you today. So allowing yourself to find that. Breathing smooth, full breaths. Inhaling into the chest, the ribs, the belly. Exhaling the belly, the ribs, the chest, back home. Following that wave. And on an inhale, for those who are still here, inhaling, coming back up. And shake that out. Okay, I think we're going to use our chair pose to come into a forward fold. So having the feet about hip width apart, and we'll have our hands by our sides. Inhaling, pressing down on the feet, lengthening with the body. Exhaling, the hands come down to the back of the knees. Inhaling in place, and then exhaling, folding over. You might stay in a flat back as your hands come down the back of your legs, or you might round down as your hands come down to your ankles. Inhaling back up, hands to behind the knees. Finding how much or little is right for you to go down on the exhale and back up on the inhale. So thinking about that wave-like breath, exhaling into the center. Inhaling to expand, letting the inhale float the chest up, the whole upper body up. And one more time. So we're going to go down into the forward fold and stay down. And here, you can rest your hands on your knees or hold your head with your hands so that you have some support if you're staying up high. Or rest your chest and your belly on your thighs and let your head hang if you're down low. You can also play with starting to straighten the legs a little bit, or not at all. So where is this forward fold right for me today? And staying here, wherever here is for you.
We're going to come up on an inhale. So on an inhale, inhaling hands up to behind the knees, flat back, rolling the shoulder blades down. Pressing into the feet and inhaling up. Let's take the arms all the way up overhead. And exhaling, hands down by your side. And pausing, noticing temperature, noticing energy flow. So the next few postures may create a little more heat. So I do again invite you to come into as easeful of a movement as is possible for you today. So as effortless. Stepping forward with your right foot, bending that knee, coming into warrior one, pressing into your back heel, letting the hips be as square to the front as possible. Serve the T arms, giving your shoulders a little roll, noticing the sensations in the shoulders, and then inhaling them out into a great big W. Elbows are a little bit low, hands out to the side. And again, we'll just try those shoulders. On the inhale, we're going to stay with our legs. So we're inhaling, thinking about expanding from the heart center out to the extremities. So on the inhale, we're going to straighten the arms out and back. On the exhale, coming in to center. So giving ourselves a hug, holding on to opposite shoulders, but also thinking about exhaling from the bottom to the top, so we're coming back into our heart center. Inhaling to expand out, hands come down and out. Exhaling, opposite arm on top as we give ourselves a hug. One more. Inhaling to open. And pausing here, thinking about your thumbs, and as much as is comfortable for you, rotating them to the sky or the wall behind you or the air and space behind you. Noticing expansion all the way down to the fingertips, that energy flow. Exhaling, hands to heart. Inhaling to straighten the front knee. And as we exhale here, we're going to exhale to a flat back. Really bring the awareness into the hinging over the front femur, setting the tailbone back and the crown forward. Rooting down through the feet. Inhale the arms out to the side in that W pose. Noticing the strength in the upper back as we bring the shoulder blades and the towards each other. From here, on your next inhale, we're going to inhale the right arm forward so it goes alongside our ear. And on the exhale, bringing it back into the W type posture. And once again with the other hand, inhaling that arm forward. Exhaling it back into W posture. Bending the front knee, pressing into the feet, and inhaling up. Exhaling, hands down and the feet together. Right foot turns out a little to 25, left foot steps forward, coming into our nice, strong, stable warrior pose. Starting with hands in serve the T. And inhaling into the W arms. On the exhale here, we're going to exhale the elbows and the palms together, keeping the elbows about shoulder height. And on the inhale, inhale into W, and then just back behind it as you straighten the elbows, if that's okay for you. Exhaling into the W, elbows and palms together. Inhaling to open and open all the way up. One more time. Pausing here. Exhaling, hands into prayer pose. Inhaling to straighten the front knee. Feeling strong and stable, engaging from the pelvic floor up to the sternum. Exhaling into a forward fold, flat back, crown reaching forward, tailbone reaching back. Inhaling the arms out to our W pose. Staying here or adding on if you like. On the inhale, the left arm goes forward up by the ear. And on the exhale, back into W. Inhaling, right arm forward. Exhale, W. And on an inhale, bending the front knee, pressing into the feet and coming back up. Exhaling the hands into prayer, stepping the feet forward or down together. And pausing. Noticing areas of coolness and areas of heat, areas of energy flow, areas of lightness or areas of heaviness. Let's step forward with our right foot once again. The right foot staying forward, the left foot's going to come parallel to the back of the mat. The front leg is going to be bent, and our torso is even with the long side of the mat. So bending into the front knee, finding just the right length for the back leg for you. Inhaling, arms up to T, and then turning to look over the front fingers. Hugging the muscles to the bone so that you're not letting your knee fall in or out, but really trying to have that trajectory of the knee and the second toe. And here, thinking about that wave-like breath, inhaling out to your extremities. And exhaling, even though we're staying in the posture, exhaling, gathering the energy back in to center, back home to your heart. We're going to change sides. So inhale to straighten the front knee. Take that front foot parallel to the floor and turn your opposite back foot to the small end of the mat, bending that knee, and then looking out over your new front hand. Coming into Warrior Two on the other side. Bringing awareness into breath and the body breathing. Expanding out, perhaps past the fingertips. Gathering our energy, our resources. Gathering our awareness back to our heart center. Coming back home on the exhale. Pressing into the front foot to straighten the front knee, bringing the hands to the waist, turning the toes so that the feet are parallel with each other. Pressing into the baby toe side of the feet, lengthening up on your inhale, and on your exhale, hinging forward to a flat back. Staying here, or allowing yourself to bend over further, to hands come to the floor, onto your thighs or your shins, coming into the forward fold that is right for you. Inviting the face to soften, the shoulders to soften, the jaw, the eyes, the tongue. The strength of the legs, of this triangle pose of the legs, holding us up so that the rest of the body can soften to the earth. And on an inhale, inhaling back up to flat back. Turning the heels in a little and bending the knees. Bringing the hands onto the thighs so that we inhale up part way. Pressing into the feet and inhaling up the rest of the way. And then bringing the feet towards each other. We're going to use our forward fold to come down into downward dog. So let's inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale through the flat back and either bending the knees or keeping the knees straight, coming down into your forward fold. Letting the neck be long and soft, the jaw be soft. Releasing towards the earth. And then walking the feet back farther so that you come up on your toes. Bending the knees and then pressing the hands, so you're pressing the bottom away from the hands, coming into a downward dog variation. We'll walk the dog by straightening one knee and then the other. And one more time on each side. And then coming up onto both toes, all the toes. Heels raised, raised, raised. Push through with the hands, the bottom goes back. And then invite the heels in the direction of the floor. At any time you can come down onto hands and knees. But just like we did in tabletop when we did our cat and cow pose, here let's play a little bit as well. So inhaling, coming a little bit forward, up onto our toes. Exhaling, rounding back down. You might bend elbows, you might not. So how does it feel to move here? What sense of flow is comfortable for you? You might want to look under one elbow or underarm and the other. You may want to go in a wave like or a circular motion. So just playing, bringing a playful exploration to your downward dog. And then on an inhale, coming through to plank. Exhaling in place when you arrive here, setting the heels away from the forehead, the arms hugging towards each other, the abdominal muscles strong. On an exhale, exhaling knees, chest, chin, belly. And we'll come into our Sphinx pose. And a few more breaths here, noticing the wave-like motion of the breath. Breathing into the heart center, the chest expands. The ribs move away from the hip bones. Exhaling the abdomen, the ribs, and into the chest, coming back home to the heart center. Exhale, coming down, making one hand on top of the other, one palm on top of the other back of the hand, forehead on top of the hands, letting your big toes touch and the heels move out to the sides. Resting in crocodile pose to also notice the breath. And here with the compression of the front body, you may notice some of the expansion in the back body. Bringing the hands close to the side body and pushing ourselves up into tabletop. Exhaling back towards child, giving our whole back body a lovely stretch. And then coming up into seated pose. So from our sitting posture, we're going to do a couple of postures here, do a little pranayama, and then end with shavasana. So starting with both legs out straight in staff pose, giving yourself maybe taking a little bit of the extra muscle out from underneath the sit bones, sitting up nice and tall. Bending the right knee out to the side so the right foot comes up by your inner thigh. Inhaling tall, exhaling from the bottom to the top as you fold forward. Not trying to get anywhere. Thinking about the spine being nice and long and tall. With each inhale, we'll expand a little, and with each exhale, coming back to center. Lengthening the spine on each inhale. Exhaling, finding a little more of the hinge. And 2 more breaths. Pausing and staying here, wherever here is for you. Lengthening crown away from sit bone. And if it's comfortable for you, you may want to round the upper back, inviting the head in the direction of the shin or the toes. Some of you may hold on to your feet. Some of you may have your hands at your calf or on the floor to support you. So finding where you are on the forward fold today in this moment and pausing here to appreciate all the sensations that are available for you in your body. Noticing that subtle expansion of the inhale and the coming home to center on the exhale for another 2 or 3 breaths. And on an inhale, help yourself walk back up, straightening the upper back to come into a flat back. Walk the hands back up. Take the right knee up to the sky. Leaving it here, we'll hold on with the left hand and we'll take the right hand behind us, helping us to sit up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades towards each other. And on your exhale, turn towards that bent knee. Looking back over your back shoulder, you can stay holding on with your hand or with your elbow. And inhaling tall and exhaling untwist. Straightening out the right leg. Turning the left knee out to the side and bringing the sole of the foot in towards the side of the thigh. Getting the extra muscle out of the way. Lengthening the heel away from the sit bone. Starting with our long spine. On the exhale, hinge over the front leg. On the inhale, expand again. Expanding on the inhale, exhaling back into center. On your next exhale, pausing wherever here is for you with that nice long spine. And then choosing wisely, staying here, letting your hands support you. Exhaling and rounding the back down so the head comes towards the shin or the toes, or holding on to the shin or the ankle or the foot. And pausing and staying and breathing in, noticing the sensations that are going on in your body, but also noticing that wave-like breath, starting at the heart center, expanding down and up, and returning back to the heart center. The whole body breathes, creating space for the life force energy, for the prana. And on an inhale, inhaling back up to flat back, letting the hands help walk you up. Inhaling all the way up, taking the left knee up to the sky, holding onto it with the right hand. The left hand comes behind you. Inhaling nice and tall and exhaling in the direction of your bent knee. Turning around to look out the back shoulder, holding on with your hand or your elbow. And on an inhale, inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to come back. Come into a comfortable seated position. It can be any seated position. Sitting on your kneeling cushion, legs straight, legs bent, easy pose. Noticing the sense of contact with your floor. Noticing the length in the spine. Tucking the chin just ever so slightly, so we're looking down towards the top of the mat. Eyes can be open or closed.
And bring the awareness back into the heart center. So starting here at the chest and noticing the expansion. Noticing the expansion go all the way down to the ribs and the belly and the abdomen. And on the exhale, coming back home to your heart center. Following each breath, inviting the breaths or noticing the textures of the breath, the characteristics, its length, its smoothness, and not really trying to change it, but noticing where it is in this moment. You may notice that each breath is a little different. Something like snowflakes. Slightly different length, a different texture, different quality, different temperatures. Make our way onto our back for Shavasana. When you arrive on your back, you may decide to have your knees bent to the sky and feet on the floor or legs out straight. Something underneath your head or your knees. And maybe it's a cool day where you are. So a light shawl or something covering any areas that feel cool. Taking that awareness of the breath that you were just using, that wave-like breath, here as we arrive on our back. Noticing the whole plane of contact with the back body. Noticing areas of expansion on the inhale to the extremities, perhaps beyond. And then starting at the top of the head and gently scanning down through the body, all the facial muscles, the whole face, head, neck, and throat.
Noticing temperature, areas of heat and cool. Noticing areas of lightness and heaviness, or not. Noticing neutrality or balance. Scanning down the whole right arm, the elbow, forearm, wrist, hands and fingers, to the fingertips. And back up the whole right arm, areas of heat and cool, lightness, heaviness, or neutrality. And down the left arm, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, whole hand and fingers, fingertips. And back up the left arm. The upper torso, the shoulders, the back of the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the rib cage, the clavicles, the chest, the front ribs, the heart, the lungs. Scanning down the body into the mid-abdomen, mid-back, belly and lower abdomen, low back, hips, buttocks, pelvis, the whole torso, temperatures, heat, cool, neutral, lightness, heaviness, neutral. And both upper thighs, fronts, backs, outsides and insides. The knees, the shins, the calf, the ankles, top of the feet, soles of the feet, heels, toes. Holding all of the sensations at the same time, noticing areas of comfort or discomfort, pleasant or unpleasant, heat, cold, light, heavy, neutral. Holding all of this. And as we scan from the toes all the way up the legs, all the way up the torso, including both arms, the neck, face, head. Holding all of the sensations in the whole body, expanding with the wave-like motion of the breath, and coming home to your heart center on the exhale. Expanding out, gathering your focus in. Aware of differences in sensations from this moment as compared to when you started. Perhaps noticing more areas of spaciousness or neutrality. Noticing how the temperature has changed
and the heaviness or the lightness has changed or not. And practicing acceptance with this moment, with this breath, as it presents itself to your awareness. Lying here, breathing. Lying here, being. Thank you for practicing yoga with me today. Have a lovely day.